Go on, take a deep breath. Seriously. That oxygen you just inhaled? It's a gift. A gift from the quiet, green powerhouses all around us. Today, we're going to dive into the world of plants, the silent architects that literally build the world we know and live in.
All right, before we really get our hands dirty, just a quick heads up. This is part 17 of our 20-part series on Intro to Biology, and we're sticking to what's in chapter 17. Okay, with that said, let's get to the root of it all.
So let's kick things off with a pretty huge question. What is the one thing that makes pretty much all life on land possible? And I mean, everything. It's not some big ferocious animal. It's not some crazy force of nature. Nope. It's something working quietly all around us, even as we speak. And that, right there, brings us to our first big idea. We're talking about plants as the foundation of life. Why? Because they're basically the silent engine that powers our entire world. I mean, without them, this planet would look completely different. It'd be totally unrecognizable. You know, their superpower has this cool scientific name, autotroph. It's a great word, right? It literally just means self-feeder. But think about what that implies for a second. Well, every animal, you, me, everyone, has to go out and find food, hunt for it, gather it, buy it. Plants are basically master chefs. They just make their own food from scratch, using just sunlight, water, and the air. And if you look at the big picture, the grand tree of life, you can see just how important they are. There, branching off in its own massive kingdom, you have plantae, the plants. They aren't just some small twig on the tree. They're one of the main fundamental branches, a pillar holding the whole thing up. So the big question is, how on earth do they pull this off? How do they do it? Well, to figure that out, we've got to pop the hood, so to speak. We're going to dive into the anatomy of a plant and really check out this genius design that lets a plant create life, literally out of thin air and light. And it really breaks down into 4 key parts, all working together perfectly. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. First the roots, then the stem, up to the leaves, and finally, we'll look at the flowers and seeds. Okay, first up, let's start from the ground up. We're talking about the roots. You know, it's so easy to think of roots as just an anchor, something to hold the plant down. But they are so much more than that. They're this incredible, sprawling network, a lifeline to the soil. And get this is wild. A single rye plant can have hundreds of miles of roots, all of them just constantly working, absorbing water and nutrients. And on top of that, they're also a pantry. They store energy, like in a carrot or a potato, for the plant to use when it needs it. All right, so if we move up from that anchor system, we get to the plant's superhighway, the stem. And superhighway is the perfect word for it because it has this amazing dual role. First, it's the support beam, right? Holding the leaves up so they can soak in the sun. But it's also a busy two-way traffic system. You've got water and nutrients coming up from the roots in one lane, and then you have all that sugary food, the energy, coming down from the leaves in another lane to feed the rest of the plant. It's brilliant. So where's all that energy-packed, sugary food actually being made? Well, that happens in the plant's very own solar panels, the leaves. Okay, this is where the real magic happens. Seriously, look at a leaf. That broad, flat surface is perfectly designed to be a giant solar collector, just soaking up as much sunlight as it can. This is ground zero for photosynthesis. And if you could zoom in, you'd see these tiny little pores called stomata. They're like little windows that open and close to breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. It's just an incredibly efficient, self-sustaining factory. Okay, so let's recap. A plant can anchor itself, it can move resources around, and it can make its own food. Pretty impressive. But what about the next generation? How does it make sure the species keeps going? Well, that brings us to the plant's really clever strategy for the future. And this is where the last few pieces of the puzzle fall into place, and they might just be the most beautiful parts. We're talking about the blueprints for the future, the flowers and the seeds. You know, flowers are way more than just something pretty to look at. They're actually these highly sophisticated reproductive machines. They're designed to either attract pollinators, like bees, or to use the wind to get the job done. And once that happens, once pollination leads to fertilization, the plant gets to work making a seed. And a seed is just an incredible little package. It's basically a plant in a box, a tiny little embryo with its own packed lunch, all wrapped up in a tough protective coat, just waiting for the right moment to start the whole cycle over again. So now that we've seen all the parts, let's put it all together. Let's zoom way out and look at the massive planetary impact of all this. It's time to see how our planet's green engine really works and how all these little functions combine to build the world as we know it. And this right here, this is the whole miracle in a nutshell. It's called photosynthesis. And what's amazing is how simple the ingredients are. You just need sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. That's it. But what you get out of it? Well, the results are absolutely world-changing. From those three simple things, plants create the energy-rich food that powers almost every ecosystem on land, and they release the oxygen that, we all need to breathe. Just let that sink in for a minute. If there's one thing you take away from all this, it should be this. The quiet, everyday work of plants is what generates the oxygen in our atmosphere. It's what creates the food that sits at the bottom of nearly every single food chain. Without them, life, as we know it, just wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that. So, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. If plants really are the foundation of all life on land, what do you think happens when that foundation starts to crack? What are the consequences when it begins to weaken?